Okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. Let's read. Chapter 23. We're here with a change of tide. Let's go. Chapter 23, Friday, December 28th. December 28th, 2008. Holy cow, it worked. Just got off the phone with Emma. Things went better than either of us could have imagined. Em asked how things went with my mom. Well, Mom just kept saying how she may not have the power to take away my powers, but she does have the ability, as your mother, to keep me away from that riff-raff. I know she just wants to do what she thinks is best, but I'm growing up, and she has to let me make my own decisions eventually. I'm definitely going to a college on the East Coast. Maybe even Europe. Nikki shoved her journal in her book bag, along with her phone, her spell book, and a couple of granola bars she'd grabbed from the kitchen earlier. She walked over to the closet and grabbed a jacket. Libraries are cold. It's good for the books. At least that's what Gabby says. Just as Nikki grabbed... Are we sliding? Sorry. We are sliding a little. There's nothing I can do about it. I'll just fix it as it happens. It'll be fine, probably. If I put that there, is that in the way? No, it gets in the way. It's fine. Yeah, I can see it moving. I can see, like, the picture, like, wee. Put my hand right there. Maybe that will help it. If I do this, will that stop it? Nope, that's making it worse. Okay. Just as Nikki grabbed her keys and was making her break for the front door, she heard it. A single, disembodied cough. Nikki froze mid-step and looked around. The cough was followed by Margaret's voice. Where do you think you're going? Library, Nikki said, making a split-second decision to answer only what she was asked. Why? Project. Nikki did a slow 360, still trying to find her mom. She wasn't keen on this godlike approach. Margaret's voice seemed to come from the very walls of the house. School project? The walls asked in Margaret's voice. Yes, Nikki said. Sort of would have been more correct, but then she would have had to explain. Be back by 6 for dinner. Okay. Nikki left before the walls could change their mind. She had quite the imaginary argument with her mom on her drive to the library, muttering to herself the whole way. After finally reaching the library, Nikki stopped by the front desk to say hello to Gabby. Merry meet, Nikki, Gabby said, peeking over the top of an ancient book. Nikki tried to read the faded lettering on the spine, but there wasn't enough left to decipher. What are you? Never you mind, Gabby said, putting the book under her desk and trading it for an envelope. She handed it to Nikki. Is it from... Yes, ma'am, Gabby said. Thanks, Nikki smiled. Can I leave this here? She asked, holding up... Yeah, Nikki smiled. Can I leave this here? She asked, holding up her book bag. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go outside to read it. Sure. Gabby took the bag and hid it behind the circulation desk. Thanks again, Nikki said, walking out of the library. She tore the envelope open and pulled out its contents and read. Little Witch, I received your letter. I wish I could tell you I was on a return journey. Alas, it seems my attention is required longer than I anticipated. I should be able to return to you by New Year's Eve. In regards to your question, no. Though I've heard of a few incidents in which others, not seers, were aware of being seen, but I do not think those would be of much help. Emma certainly is one of a kind. Now, I know you didn't write to me concerning her, but I think you should ease up on your mother. She's had a difficult initiation into our world, an initiation which is still taking place. She'll come around in her own time. One last thing, little witch. If your third, Nelly, ever decides to fulfill her role in these events, tell her to seek out Henry at the Cove. She'll know what it means. I've never met him, but I've corresponded with him, and it seems as though he's been awaiting her arrival, though I think he's about as excited about it as she is. Be patient, Nikki. Everything has its time. Blessed be Grandma Kate. Nikki reread the letter to make sure she hadn't missed anything. Be patient, she read aloud, sighing. Patient about what? Someone said. Nikki looked up. Emma, I thought you were going to be late. I was, but things worked out, Emma said cryptically. Let's go inside and I'll tell you what I mean. Once inside, and after getting her back from Gabby, Nikki showed Emma the letter. While Emma read it, Nikki drummed her fingers lightly on the table which they had claimed as their workspace. The only other sound was the occasional rustle of pages as the few other occupants in the library read. Patient about what? Everything? Emma whispered. My thoughts exactly, Nikki whispered back. It was a library after all. I wonder how she knew about Nelly. I only just found out. Emma set the letter down. What about Nelly? Nikki pressed. Emma's expression changed. Her brows went from furrowed as she grimaced to lifted as her eyes lit up and she smiled. Nelly's decided to help us, Emma whispered. What? Nikki said. She hadn't shouted. She certainly hadn't whispered either. Library, Emma reminded her. Sorry, Nikki whispered. When did you find out? Right before I came. That's why I was going to be late. Nelly sent me a text and asked if I was too busy to talk. I let you know I'd be late, and then I called her, Emma explained, trying to keep her voice low, but her excitement was getting the better of her. She said that she had thought everything over and that she would do it, and I asked do what, and she said help. Emma's hands flew to her mouth. Her help had been much louder than she intended. Library, Nikki said, mock smug. Emma grinned. Anyway, I asked her if she could meet us here later. I figured we ought to get some of the kinks worked out of our plan before we let her in on what she's signing up for. 28 December 2008. Nikki and I have been at the library for over 2 hours researching ways to increase our chances of surviving a tsunami. We've mapped out where we think the tsunami is most likely to hit. We've emailed the Coast Guard, every beach guard company we could find, and the local hospitals all about the impending doom. That's what Nikki and I have taken to calling it. It's better than throwing around the word tsunami and causing mass panic in the library. Although looking around, the only people in here, other than the two of us and Gabby, are over 85 and probably turned their hearing aids off. We emailed all the disaster relief agencies and told them we believe we'll be struck by a tsunami on December 31st, possibly January 1st. We originally tried calling, but everyone has some kind of 13-step automated system. Anyway, we got prompt email responses from all stating we were misinformed, asking us not to spread false rumors, and wishing us the happiest of holidays. The irony is not lost on me. Emma sighed. It was no more than she had expected, honestly. No one in their right mind would believe a couple of teenagers over all the experts. Nikki poked Emma in the shoulder. Hey, Nikki said, I think that's her. She gestured toward the front of the library. A tanned girl wearing army green shorts and a sweatshirt hood up stood at the front of the library talking with Gabby. They saw Gabby point over to where they were sitting. Emma waved and the girl walked toward them, pulling her hood down. It was Nelly. Can I sit? She asked. Sure, Nikki said, pulling her bag and a pile of books off one of the chairs. Thanks for coming, Emma said. We actually have a message for you, if that's all right. Yeah. Okay, Nelly said, her legs sticking immediately to the cold faux leathering covering the chairs. She wiggled, trying to get comfortable. Emma glanced at Nikki, who nodded and said, So, my grandma sent me a letter and told me to tell you that you should seek out Henry at the Cove. She said you'd know what that meant. I guess she's talked to him and he's been waiting to hear from you. Wait, Nelly said, turning to Nikki. How does your grandma know all of this? How does my grandma know anything? Nikki murmured. She hadn't meant to say it out loud, but it was what she had been feeling. What? Nelly said. Nikki groaned. Sorry, she's like a magic 8-ball. She just knows stuff when you need to know it, and if you don't ask, then you never knew that she knew the whole time. And she shrugged. What? Nelly asked, more confused now than before. What she means, Emma said with a small smile, is that she just met her grandma and she knows as little about her as you do. Oh, Nelly said. The girls sat in awkward silence for a little while until Nelly finally broke it. Emma? Yes, Emma said. How long have you known? About me and Nikki, I mean, Nelly said. Nikki looked at Emma. A while, Emma admitted, but I couldn't tell you, she added. Why not? Nelly asked. Emma chewed on the inside of her lip for a moment before responding. Would you have believed me? About magic? About being a mermaid? Probably not, I guess. Nelly thought about it. I mean, I am one. I've seen magic. Heck, I've done magic, and I barely believe it myself. Emma shrugged and then said, It was safer to wait until you already knew. With you especially, Nelly, I knew we'd be waiting until your 18th birthday. That's the way it works. Well, why couldn't you tell Nikki? Did you have to wait until she was 18 too? With Nikki, it should have been innate. Keep in mind, she just moved here a little while ago, so though I knew of her power, I didn't actually know her until then, Emma explained. And because it wasn't innate, I couldn't sense it. Innate? Sense it? What do you mean? Nelly asked. Magical beings can sense each other. You'll start to notice it the longer you have your powers, Emma added. As for Nikki, I should have been able to sense her magic as soon as we met, but her father bound it, so I couldn't sense it until after her birthday. Witches are born with their power ready to use, but it's small and grows as they grow. Mermaids are transformative, and because you were born on land, because you were in your human form first, your magic had to mature enough to create the necessary biological and physiological changes. I'd explain more, but the truth is my knowledge of mermaid magic is limited to the basics. I only know what I read from books. Emma checked her watch and stood up. We should head over there, actually. She started closing and stacking the many books still left on the table. You're getting a reading list, Nikki said, also standing. Don't worry, she added, seeing Nelly's bewilderment. I was given a reading list, too. You won't have to read it all right away, but there will probably be some books you'll want to have under your belt before New Year's. New Year's? Why? Nelly asked. I'll explain on the way, Emma said. For now, help me put these away. She handed Nelly a stack of books. December 28th, 08. You know, a month ago, I would have said you'd have to be crazy to trust two people you barely knew, and now I'm in it up to my gills. Logically, I should run for it, but my gut tells me to trust them. Nikki and Emma, I mean. The witch and the psychic medium. You know, because those words inspire so much trust. Then again, I turn into fish girl every time I get into the ocean, so I probably shouldn't point fingers. Emma says a tsunami is coming. To be honest, I'm a little let down. I mean, I'm still going to help, but they made it sound like they were fighting villains with plans to rule the world, and we were the only ones who could stop them. Don't get me wrong, tsunamis aren't good, but they're not exactly evil either. Turns out my magic power can help after all. Apparently there's a difference between magic, with a C, magic, CK. I just need to train up a bit, or a lot. Writing? Ethel asked. Yeah, Nelly said, closing her journal. She was sitting at the same table where her poem and future had been read so long ago. Good. It's important to keep documentation of the events and your feelings. Ethel patted Nelly's shoulder. Thanks, Nelly said. Nikki was in the living room, nose deep in a record of prophecies made by the High Priestess III, Zoya Vicar. Emma, meanwhile, was hidden away in the library, fetching every book on mermaids she could find. Nikki, Ethel said. Yes? Nikki looked up from her book and looked over her shoulder at Ethel. Would you be a dear and make some hot chocolate? Ethel glanced outside and added, It looks like it might rain and you'll want the warmth in your bones before the cold comes. Curious, Nelly peeked out the window. It had been unusually hot for a December day in Northern California, and her view of the window seemed to confirm this. Nelly moved her head to see the sky, clear and blue with a sparkling sun. Didn't look like it was going to rain to her. But whether it looked like it was going to rain or not was not a matter of interest to Nikki, who said, sure, closed her book carefully and went into the kitchen. Now, dear, Ethel said to Nelly, what have you decided about a mentor? Well, part of me would like some help because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm also pretty good at learning stuff on my own through trial and error. Nelly sighed. Do I have to have one? Is it like a mermaid requirement? Because so far, anyone can offer is my uncle who sends me a birthday card 6 months late every year. And I'm not super stoked about that option. You must decide for yourself, Ethel answered slowly, as though choosing her words carefully. What exactly does a mentor do? Nelly put her journal away. A mentor guides and teaches. For example, I'm Emma's mentor. I've been a medium for much longer than she has, Ethel said. Is it important to have one? Nelly asked again. You have to decide for yourself, Ethel said. Why? The law says each magical individual must seek and find their mentor of their own free will and choice. Others cannot interfere. I don't get any guidance at all. I don't even know what I'm looking for, Nelly said. What if I ask for your help? If I choose to help you, or if I choose you to help me find my mentor of my own, what was it? Nelly waited. Free will and choice, Emma said as she came into the dining room, carrying a stack of books that smelled strongly of seawater and orange peel. Nelly's eyes widened at the sight. Okay. She cleared her throat and looked at Ethel. Right. So out of my own free will and choice, I choose you to help me decide if Henry was supposed to be my mentor. Nelly raised her eyebrows and asked, so is that enough? Can you help me now without any bad karma or whatever? I don't see why not, Ethel said after a pause. There's no law against helping if the said individual seeks guidance. So, how do I know if Henry is a good mentor? What should I be looking for? Nelly asked. She pulled out her journal again, opening to a back page to take notes. Well, Ethel said, you need someone who works with your magic, a psychic for a psychic, a witch for a witch, mermaid for a mermaid. Nelly said, got it. So assuming he is one, is that enough to make him a good mentor? Well, no, I'm afraid the only way to find out is to have a few lessons with him. And if I don't think he's a good teacher, I can quit? Nelly asked, writing as she spoke. Technically, yes. If you choose to have a mentor and didn't like one, you'd seek another. That is, if you choose to have a mentor at all, Ethel said. So I could just not have a mentor? Nelly asked, looking up from her journal. Again, technically speaking, you could be without a mentor, Ethel said. But, Nelly felt its implication on the end of Ethel's sentence. But learning something new is always difficult. I trust you are a talented and clever individual, and as you said, you're quite good at learning on your own, Ethel explained. But even the cleverest of people still need a guide, and magic is not the sort of thing that is always safe to learn via trial and error. Sometimes a single trial can be fatal. Ethel grimaced before adding, I will help you all I can, though I would not be your mentor. I can give you books to study, Ethel said, gesturing to the pile Emma had set on the table. But there are certain things about each magic not written in books, for they are secrets only for the user of the magic to know. You mean like contacting mermaids? Nelly asked. Like how my mom said not to write the method down anywhere. Precisely. We are among a small number of non-merfolk who know where to find the secret, even though we are not privy to the secret itself. Ethel smiled. We would not share its location with anyone, but it is exactly that sort of secret, that sort of magic, which can only be discovered and properly used by someone of the same magical birth. Hot cocoa? Nikki asked, walking into the dining room carrying a tray which held 4 mugs of cocoa, a bowl filled with miniature marshmallows, and 4 peppermint spoons on a plate. Where did you get the spoons? Emma asked, taking her mug and eyeing the red and white striped utensils. Magic, Nikki said, grinning. I found a peppermint candy and I multiplied it, and then I reformed the candies into spoons. Very clever, Ethel said as she took out a mug. Thanks. Nikki held out the tray so everyone could take a spoon and dish out however many marshmallows they wanted for their respective mugs. She took the tray back into the kitchen and returned, sucking on the last peppermint spoon. So, Nikki said, come on. Read the room, bro. So, Nikki said, sticking the spoon in her cocoa. What did I miss? I need to contact Henry and decide if I want him to be my mentor, and if I don't, I need to figure out who else is a likely candidate, Nelly said, stirring her cocoa absent-mindedly. Would your dad know anyone? Nikki asked. No, he looked. When I first told him I was giving up surfing, you're quitting? Nikki asked, almost choking on her hot cocoa. You can't quit. You're awesome. How the heck? Nelly waved her hand dismissively. You know what? It doesn't matter. I have to quit. I can't turn into a mermaid in front of everyone. They'd freak. And then the government would want to run experiments on me and to find out how they can make GI mer soldiers. Nelly sighed. I can't keep surfing, at least not publicly. I don't think I can even keep surfing privately. Nelly dropped her head into her hands. You know, when I was little, I always thought being a mermaid would be so cool. I guess it's true what they say. Be careful what you fish for, huh? Nelly gave a half-hearted smile. Well, maybe there's some way to control it, Nikki suggested. I mean, I have to learn to control my magic. Why not you too? Dear, Ethel said apprehensively, mermaid magic isn't like witch magic. There are some laws you can't break. Maybe that's a secret, Emma suggested. What do you mean? Nelly asked. Well, we were talking about secrets kept within elemental families, Emma said. And wait, Nelly said, putting a hand up. Back up. Elemental what? Elemental families. You're a mermaid. Your element is water. Your magical element, that is, Emma explained. Anyway, what's your element? Nelly asked. Spirit. Emma said. Witches or earth, Nikki offered. So there aren't any other magical water beings? Nelly asked. Mermaids are it? Well, there's Selkies, Emma said. Some argue that Selkies have true claim on elemental magic of water, but the Selkies themselves have little say on the matter. They just say They just say they know their true elemental magic, and that is enough for them. It's their secret, if you will. What's a Selkie? Nikki asked. I'll explain later, Emma said with a wave of her hand. I've gotten way off my original point. Learning to control your mermaid form might be a secret only shared between merfolk. Maybe, Ethel said slowly, but I would not count on it. To offer my guidance, I would suggest seeking your uncle for now. Right, Nelly said. So I've got to pick a person who has never wanted to be a part of my life until I sprouted a tail because I literally don't know anyone else. In all fairness, you did say your uncle sent you cards. That shows some interest, Emma said. I guess that's true, Nelly said. An alarm went off. Nikki reached for her phone. It was 5:45. Oh, crap, Nikki said. I have to go. Nelly glanced at her watch. Same here. Can I get a ride back to my car? Yeah, no problem, Nikki said, digging through her bag to find her keys. Em, do you need a ride too? I'm good. Rochelle should be along soon, Emma said. Besides, we're having dinner here tonight anyway. Would either of you like to join us? Ethel asked. Oh, I'd love to, but my mom would kill me, Nikki shrugged. I promised I'd go by and see a friend, Nelly said, pointing vaguely. Another time then, Ethel said. The girls grabbed their things and walked out the front door. Nikki stood on the front step digging through her bag for her keys. Nelly looked up into the sky. It was still blue, but a little darker with wisps of cloud. She looked at Nikki. Going to rain, huh? As soon as the words left Nelly's lips, there was a great crack, and rain came pouring down. Nikki found her keys, and the two of them ran through the rain for the car. It couldn't have been more than 15 feet, but they were both drenched by the time they made it inside. Never argue weather with a medium, Nikki said, closing the driver's side door and wiping her sopping hair out of her face. And that is the end of chapter 23. And the little thingy worked. We didn't slide anymore, so that was good. I don't know if you can hear my kids arguing, but they are. Okay, tune in next week where we read chapter 24, where we find out whether or not we can find Henry and who he is, whether or not he's going to be a good mentor, etc., etc., etc. If you want to buy it, because I read too slow, you're welcome to. It's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, although I will say I do make more money if you purchase it from Amazon. So there's that.